think at Sunderland, you could have had a sheet of paper, and it would have knocked us over. We were that bad, and I think Accrington, we laid it up to some severe cardboard. We've now got to take it to the next level now. Let's now move on to that real strength of we're not going to be pushed over, we're not going to be blown over. We're going to put up a real fight, and we're going to win this game. And that's what. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. Sorry this episode is late because we've been very busy this week on the podcast because we've done obviously League One's transfer grading, we've done the Premier League transfer grading. If you haven't checked those out, I definitely recommend checking those out. We go through every single team in both the Premier League and League One and grade their transfer business. Thank you very much for the support on those two episodes. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, the League One was great fun to record because and to sort of prepare as well, because I didn't really know much about all of the transfers and things like that, and to sort of go through them and things like that was really enjoyable, to be honest with you. It was really interesting to see each team's transfers ins and outs. So that was really interesting to record as well. Obviously, the Premier League one was quite well known because a lot of people know the transfers of those clubs in the Premier League, obviously. So that was obviously a little bit more aware to me, but I definitely do recommend checking that out, and both are very entertaining. With just my honest opinion on everyone's transfer business in League One and in the Premier League. Thank you very much for the continuous support on that. Thank you very much for the continuous support on the podcast as well. That is unbelievable. What we're achieving on the podcast at the moment in terms of numbers, in terms of likes, is fantastic. We're always growing, which is great. We're always getting subscribers out to every episode, which is absolutely fantastic. If you like what you hear and you like what you like watching here on the podcast, I definitely would love you to subscribe and leave a like as well. We're only on 82 subscribers. If we get to 84 subscribers before match reaction on Sunday, that would be absolutely fantastic. You smash the subscriber count every single time. If we can get to 84 subscribers in the next 2 days or a day or so, this is coming out either Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday morning before the game. If we can smash that, that would be fantastic to try and get 84 subscribers. Only 2 more people need to subscribe, and if that does happen, that will be absolutely fantastic. Today, though, we're going to be previewing Oxford United's game against Crewe Alexander. A very difficult test in League One because it's a must-win game for Oxford United as well. Before we crack on with the preview, though, we've got a bit of information coming from Oxford United themselves. Napa and Spazov have gone out on loan to Woking. They will not be Oxford United. I'm pretty sure that is a season-long loan as well. So I'm pretty sure we won't be seeing much or any of Napa and Spazov in a Premier League shirt, in an Oxford United shirt. Oxford United shirt this season, which I was a little bit surprised about Napa because I thought he was going to get quite a lot of playing time. Well, not a lot, but I thought he was going to be quite helpful. He's a little quick lad, quite a quick winger as well. And Spazov as well, I've heard good things from him. Obviously, to go out into non-league, hopefully they do develop as footballers as well. But I was surprised about Napa. I thought he definitely would. Come out and turn to be really good this season and be a helpful asset. But I guess that isn't the case. He's gone out on loan. Carl Robinson doesn't think that, so that isn't going to be the case. But I guess swings and roundabouts as well. We have got to get some players out on loan because we need to free up spaces to bring some more players in. So I guess it's positive in that sense to see that a few players are going out, because it may just show that we need to bring a few players in as well. And Spazov and Napa were the 2 players that had to sort of be sacrificed for those free spaces as well. So anyway, let's crack on with the Crewe Alexander preview, because that's why you're here. That's why I'm doing this episode of the podcast. Crewe fans, welcome. Oxford United fans, let's preview this game, shall we? Because it's a must win, and Carl Robinson knows that. The players on media duty, and I'm sure all the players that weren't, he didn't even speak in the interview, know how important this game is. They come in on the same form as us as well, so it's two defeats to start the season and then 1 win. So 1 out of 3 won as well, and they obviously won the last game like we did as well. They sit in 14th due to goal difference, even though we have the same form. But of course, we beat Accrington Stanley 4-1, which certainly helped our goal difference. In terms of injury and availability list, Ruffles is still out, Gorin is still out, and Winnell is in doubt, and of course Massinho is still out as well. So not as many as last week. Last week is obviously a bit of an issue with Brannigan out as well. Obviously he was available for that. I haven't actually listed Sykes, but I do believe Sykes is available for tomorrow's game as well. So hopefully Sykes is available. We do love Sykes, so hopefully he can be available for the game, and he turns out to be a very helpful player as well. In terms of my predicted lineup, then, Eastwood, Clare, Moore, Atkinson, Long, Kelly, Brannigan, Ford, Hall, I've written Hall twice there, meant Henry and Taylor as well. So I think we're going to go back to the 4, well, not to say go back, continue with the 4-3-3 after Accrington's sort of success. In my opinion, Hall and Ford should stay in the team. Okay, that's just my opinion. It does mean Adji has to drop out, but I think Adji was, out of the 3, probably the less influential out of all of them. Which obviously, it's difficult for Adji because he's put himself in a situation where we have a lot of players in those positions. We have a lot of players in the positions where Adji likes to play. We have a lot of options up front. We have a lot of options on sort of the right wing as well. It is obviously the left wing that we do lack depth, and hopefully we will bring someone in soon. And I'm sure we will, with the way that Carl Robinson and the board are speaking. But I think the right is where we've got a lot of options. Sykes can play there, Hall can play there, Ford can play there. Adji can of course play there as well. A lot of players can play in that position. So Adji is in a difficult situation. But I thought he did very well against Accrington. I said that he did well. I said that most of the players did very, very well against Accrington. Every player that came in did their job, and that's why we won the game. But I do think Adji probably will drop out of the team. Robinson doesn't tend to like starting him. That's just the way it is. And off the bench, I think he can be very, very helpful. And I think that's what Carl Robinson will want to do. Hopefully he does get the playing time this season, because I think what he did offer us against Accrington was really, really positive. I think the way he held up the ball, I think the way that he sort of took the ball down and sort of ran at them really with his sort of strange strength and pace that he sort of owns, that is very difficult to sort of have a balance of, but Adji just does. And I was sort of really, really impressed by that. And so hopefully that can continue. Hopefully that can be the same if he does start, and if he comes off the bench as well. It's a really great asset to have off the bench, to have someone that's going to take the ball and drive, because a lot of players, like I said, can't do that. So hopefully if he does start, he's effective. If he comes off the bench, he's effective. I haven't named him in my predicted lineup, and if I was picking the lineup as well, I think I'd have to drop him out. I haven't put Sykes straight back in the lineup because I think that Hall had a really, really good game. I think Hall's had a really good spell of games in the team when he was in the cup as well against Watford, and I think last week as well he showed that he should definitely be starting, because it was a difficult one for Hall, because it was a game that there was a lot of pressure on him to perform, because he was given that chance in the starting lineup, and I think he definitely took that with both hands. I don't think he was the most influential player on the football pitch. I don't think he was the most influential player Oxford United had in attack, but I think what he did do was run and offer something different, and offer something that a lot of players don't offer, and I guess what Sykes doesn't offer. Sykes does offer that real support defensively, and that real... he's quite a skillful player, but Hall is a different level of skill. Hall really does offer some great skill. He's worked hard from his injury. I remember I spoke to Hall. I was there. It was actually the game that we lost 7-0 against Wigan. I was actually watching that game, and I was speaking to some of the players before that. And it was sort of on the back of his injury, and obviously he recovered from his injury, and he was talking to us and talking to the people about how he was fighting really, really struggling, but was sort of on the right track to get back from his injury. Such a bad injury it was. He is back now. He went out on loan to Forest Green, which was a great loan signing for Forest Green, because it clearly shown that he is a very, very good League One level. And I think he's definitely taken that chance with two hands. I think he's had a very difficult fast 2 years, but I think he definitely did need to come in and do a good job, and he certainly did do that. So I'd keep Hall in that lineup. I keep Ford in that lineup as well. I think Ford was a player that really did do very, very well against Accrington. I think he's a player that a lot of people didn't speak about, but I think he was fantastic. I think what he did was he offered something different in midfield again. He isn't your strong Marcus McGuane midfielder like Baptiste, things like that. He's your technically very, very good passer, very, very good dribbler. You could tell he used to be a winger, or can play on the wing, and he's sort of in centre midfield now. But he's done a very, very good job there. Some of the balls he puts in the box, set pieces that he offers are fantastic. I thought it was really, really good. So he should keep his lineup as well, keep himself in the lineup. And obviously then Brannigan fits back in midfield as well, which brings I'd have to probably say Henry back out on the wing, but I'd hate to do that because I think he did so well in the centre. But I guess playing him out on the right or the left, or one of the two, could be the way to go. It is disappointing because I just would love to see Hall, and I'd love to see I'd love to see Hall and Henry, particularly Henry, playing in that sort of behind the striker, but on sort of the right of midfield, because that's where he did so well. And I think that's where he did so well against Accrington in that midfield, because he was involved in everything. So when he was out on the wing at times, I do think we lose a little bit of Henry and we lose what he's good at. And I think Accrington showed again that he was fantastic when he can play sort of in a more central position in midfield. I mean, not central, but I guess on the right of a midfield three. So I think Henry will do that, and I think I'm really looking forward to how Henry can play in that position. Hopefully, he continues his form from Accrington. Hopefully, Taylor can continue his goal scoring form that he did against Accrington as well. Hopefully, Clare can continue. Moore and Accrington continue to be solid. Long has a good game. Kelly sort of plays the second half of Accrington throughout the game, and Brannigan can continue what Brannigan does best. And I think he will. I think we all will. I think the players know that this is a huge game. And I say this every single time, and I love using this at the start in sort of the clips and the coming up bit at the start of the podcast, but I 100% mean this. We have to capitalise on the last game, and we have to capitalise against Accrington, because otherwise we could be in a struggle this season. We have to. So these are the games now where if you lose, you have to bounce back with a win, and if you win, you have to come back with strength and character to win again, and it's as simple as that. Because if you don't, that Accrington game means nothing. If you win 3 and lose 1, you go, still a bad start to the season. If you win 2, lose 2, you think it's not the best start to the season, but we can certainly take it. After losing the first 2 games as well, to win the next 2 is fantastic. And also, I must stress as well, we've got some difficult games coming up. Peterborough away is one to note as well. I'll bring the fixture list up as well, but I know exactly. I clearly don't know exactly, hence why I'm looking it up. But I definitely know that we have got some extremely difficult games coming up for Oxford United. So this game against Crewe, and it's not going to be a walkover, and we know that. The players should know that. The manager said that, and I know that. As fans, we can sort of then Crewe. They've just been promoted, but they're not going to be a walkover, because Crewe tend to do well when they get promoted. Tend to do very, very well when they come up. And I'll speak a bit more about what Carl Robinson was saying about that, because he was very, 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 very sort of positive about it, and he was very, very honest about how that game, how we should go about this game, because it's not going to be an easy game. This game's going to be very, very difficult. So the next game's coming up then. So okay, that's the results. We need fixtures. I know we have got some tough fixtures. We've got Peterborough away. I know that. And I'm pretty sure that is next week after Crewe, which is a very difficult place to go. So, okay, it's not that week. It's not that week. We have got games in between that. But these are some tough games. We've got Crewe at home, and then we've got Bristol in the EFL Trophy, which we should definitely be going further. I mean, I don't know if I'll be doing a preview on it. Because this is a competition in which it sounds very much, glory hunter, but it is a sense that if we start getting to the quarterfinals, semi-final, things like that, that's when we will get very excited. But the group stage of this competition against sort of the under 21 sides, under 23 sides of these Premier League sides, it's quite, I don't say boring, I don't want to disrespect the competition, but it's certainly a competition in which it only gets exciting come the end of it. Let's just say that. But after that, we've got Gillingham away in that game, which is not going to be an easy place to go. Gillingham away is a difficult place to go. Then Peterborough away. And then MK Dons at home and Swindon at home. So these are some tough games. We have to beat Crewe. We then have to beat Gillingham, in my opinion, and then we take a point against Peterborough. It sounds negative taking a point against Peterborough, and if we win against Peterborough, we win against Peterborough. I think we should win, and I want us to win against Peterborough, but we have to be honest ourselves. They haven't started the season very, very well, but nor have we. It's very difficult, and it's always in that thing, isn't it? It's like they haven't started the season very well, but on the back of our minds, and certainly on the back of mine, I made the mistake so many times, and it's until people go, but nor have we. We haven't started the season very well either. Peter are going to be thinking the same. Peter are going to be going, we've got Oxford at home. It's going to be a difficult game. And home and away, does it make a difference? Dilly-dally. We've discussed that too many times on the podcast, home and away, with the whole no fan situation, and whether or not we'll have any more news on that soon. But I think I do definitely think that we have to be honest with ourselves, and so we haven't started the season very well either. I think Peterborough are below us. I'm pretty sure Peterborough have lost 2 and drawn 1. I could have completely disrespected them now. I'll 100% check. This again is the preparation, in which I don't do, because I just literally plan it and then just sort of see where we go, because I love just basically talking on sort of where it takes us. But yeah, Peterborough are 19th. They've lost 1 and lost. I thought they drew, so they didn't. They drew. They did win, and they haven't started the season very well. So it's a season which we're in the same form. They're in 19th, we're in 11th, but we're in the same form. But obviously we've won our game by 4 goals. They must have not won their game by many and been beaten quite heavily, because they're on a minus 2 goal difference. I know it's literally margins. We're on minus 1 goal difference. They're on minus 2, but they're in the relegation zone. Near the relegation zone, and we're mid-table. I know it's very, very fine goal margins, but they haven't started the season very well. But nor have we. So we've got to beat Crewe. Crewe is a game that Crewe are going to want to win, that Crewe are going to take extremely seriously, and we're going to have to be at our best. We can't play at times like we did against Accrington, because we will lose. Because I think Accrington at times was not as good as a 4-1 score reflected. But I also think as well we've got to take each game by game, and not worry about those last games. That's gone now. We've beaten Accrington. The only thing we take from that game is the fact we won, and we use that momentum to move forward. We don't worry about that game now. If we lose against Crewe, I'm not going to come on a match reaction and go, that's fine though. We beat Accrington 4-1, but we did lose the other 3. But we beat Accrington. Well, no, because we lost 3 games other than Accrington. Oh, that's irrelevant. It's not. It's completely irrelevant. Now, when the game is done, we now have to concentrate on the next one. We use that, we move on. We use the momentum, we move on. Last season's run simply came from momentum. Last season's run simply came from, we won that game, boys. We take that confidence to the next one. We've won 2, we won 3, we won 4, we won 5. If the season had finished, I believe the same as well. And and I don't want to, it's coming more disrespectful, towards the coronavirus situation. But if the season had finished, I still believe we would have gone up automatically because of our momentum. Because we had that momentum to continue forward. We were on a huge win streak. We were beating anybody. On our day, I think we could have beaten a lot of championship sides as well on the form we were on. So it is all about momentum. So we've got to take that now. We have to take that. And it's important we do, because if we don't, we're going to put ourselves in a situation where we are going to be into trouble, which is not a situation we want to be in. I'll just quickly go through my notes about the sort of preview that Carl Robinson gave and the players as well. It was Ford and Atkinson on media duty for the players this week. And Carl Robinson simply talked up Crewe, and we can't underestimate them. They're a great side. They're a really, really good side that have a cycle that is, and I'm going to try and repeat what Carl Robinson said, but this is a cycle. I don't know if you've watched his preview of it, but I think it's a very, very good cycle, and a cycle that I didn't know about at Crewe. I'm not knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable in their transfer business and their transfer cycle and the way their club works. I'm not going to lie and say I do. I'm not going to lie and say this is my research. I'm hearing this from Carl Robinson himself, and it is a good strategy when you listen to it. It works both ways. I'm sure it is slightly frustrating for fans, but I think the fans must be also understanding to it as well. It is as simple as they use the players from their youth academy. They bring them through. They get better and better by each season. They then break obviously into the first team permanently. They do very well. They get promoted with that. They get into League One, and then those players obviously then get picked up because they're that good by top end sides. And then unfortunately for Crewe, they get relegated. They might even get relegated into the National League. Doesn't happen very often, but they get relegated back into League 2, and they do that cycle again. And it's a very quick cycle as well. This isn't a 5-year cycle. Isn't stay in the league for visits. This will be very, very simple. This is, these players have a very, very good youth system where they can bring through these players through, but don't have the financial ability to keep hold of the players and bring other players in. I mean, I'm sure they do bring players in. Of course they do. We did the transfer thing, and they did do transfer. They have done business this summer, and will do that. But it's not like Oxford's way of it was huge when we sold Baptiste as a homegrown player, but that is Crewe's cycle. Crewe's cycle is as simple as we bring these players through and lose it. I'm not sure if it's frustrating for a Crewe fan. Would it be frustrating for me? I think first it would be, but I think also I get used to that strategy. I get used to that cycle, and that is why Crewe is such a fantastic club as well, because They're bringing these players through, and it's not difficult. It's very, very difficult to do that. I've made that cycle sound like you just do it like this, but it isn't as that. It isn't just a click of a finger and that cycle works, because you've got to have the fantastic youth players to come through, great youth staff, and you've got to rely on these players to be successful. If you have a bad couple of years of youth, youth academy graduates, you're done for the next 3 years, because if you're relying on those players to be successful. But Crewe can't. But Crewe don't do that. Crewe have a fantastic strategy that works and works and works. They'll finish top half first, most of the time. They will finish top half of the table, in their first season in League One, because they are very, very good. Because they will be very, very successful in this league, because they've got all their best players now. They're in that sort of peak of the cycle where they have got some of their best players at the club right now, which is why we've got to be on our best. Carpenter's taught that up. We are in a very, very fortunate position at Oxford United Football Club. We're in a very, very fortunate position in League One clubs that we have been able to buy players this transfer window and been able to buy players generally. If the coronavirus didn't happen, or if it did happen but didn't affect football, which would have been completely impossible, because it's affected literally anything economically, I think I do generally think that we would be speaking about this anyway. We are very, very lucky that we are able to spend money, and if not spend money, still be able to bring players in. Every player is money. Every player we have at the club is money. Every player that we sign at the club is money. You can talk about loans, things like that, but they all still own. It's very rare that a club are willing to send a player on loan with them paying all of their wage. It's very, very, very unlikely that happens, because what benefit other than they want to use their player get some match time and game time? What other things do they get? What other things do they get out of that situation? And the honest answer, they don't get anything out of it. But if it's a young player coming down to League One and getting match experience they wouldn't get obviously in the team they're from, then that is good for them, and they may pay the full wage. But every player costs a amount of money, which is why Oxford United are very, very lucky to have that, and why Crewe may not be. Crewe maybe don't have that amount, and we're not rich by any stretch of the imagination as a football club, but we are fortunate enough to have the board and are backed to buy players. And I'm not saying Crewe aren't backed, they might be, I don't know, this is the information I don't own, but Crewe, and Carpenter said this as well, and it's not in a disrespectful way as well, Crewe's cycle works so well for them, and we're in a fortunate position where we have brought players in. Crewe are going to be the team that I think a lot of teams should look up to Crewe in that sense of that is an unbelievable strategy that works so well for them. It might not work well for everybody, but I think it certainly does show that they've got a fantastic thing going on there, and it's a great thing what they do. They've got a great manager in David Artell as well. What David Artell's doing at Crewe, I think, is fantastic. And it's not an easy job to do that. It's not an easy job to walk into a side and have that strategy put in front of you. But he's doing so well at it. He's gotten promoted last season, and they've started the season pretty well. For a team that's just come up, 1 win out of 3. For Oxford that want to have our ambitions high, isn't a great start. But for a team that's just come up, I think you'll take that. So impressed by them. I didn't know that about Crewe, and that's something you learn every day. And I thought Crewe were fantastic. I think that's a really, really good, positive thing to have at Crewe. So that's great. The other players as well, they know they have to be at their best. The players know they have to be at their best to beat Crewe. We just spoke about why, because Crewe are at the peak of the cycle. They've got some of the best players in their shirt, and we've got to be at our best to beat them. They're not going to be a walkover. We've got to make ourselves look like we're not a walkover. I think at Lincoln we looked at times like we're going to be a team just to run over. I think at Sunderland, you could have had a sheet of paper, and it would have knocked us over. We were that bad. And I think Accrington, we laid it up to, some severe cardboard. We've now got to take it to the next level now. Let's now, move on to that real strength of we're not going to be pushed over, we're not going to be blown over. We're going to put up a real fight, and we're going to win this game. And that's what we've got to go do against Crewe, because Crewe are going to do that, and we've got to do that as well. And we've got to be at our best as well. The players and managers know we need 3 points. It's as simple as that. We're not going to look back on the start of the season with great memories anyway. However, if we win 2 games out of 4, I think we can all say, considering the start, I think we'll take it. And I think that's just the way it is. We've got to take these points now, because like I said, these next games are not easy. Peterborough away, Sunderland at home's a must win. We know that, and that just doesn't have the reason behind it. Swindon, it is also a huge game because we need to beat them. And I'll say that against the preview as well. It's not going to be just we got to beat Swindon because it's Swindon. We've got to beat Swindon because they're doing extremely well, and we need to be where they are. That's as simple as. Gillingham away is not an easy place to go as well, and MK Dons at home is also going to be a difficult one, and then Charlton away. You know, that is a tough place to go, and then Fleetwood away. I mean, this month is difficult. This month is hard. Gillingham away, Peterborough away, Charlton away, Fleetwood away. Some of the biggest teams in this league away from home in 1 month is not easy, which is why it's good that we beat Accrington and it's important that we beat Crewe. Oxford United fans, we've got to come together. We've got to win this game. If you want to send in your thoughts on the game, remember DM the Instagram page at the Young Fan Podcast or tweet me at Young Fan Podcast. On there as well. Give your thoughts on that as well. Subscribe as well. That would be fantastic. Hopefully you enjoyed the preview. It's a must-win game for Oxford United. We need 3 points. We need to perform against Crewe. Players, staff, let's get together. Let's get our back-to-back win in the league. It's important that we pounce and we capitalise on last week because ultimately we started the 4-1. We're getting there now. Let's take that to the next level. Let's win tomorrow as well. If this comes out on Friday, thank you very much. If this comes on Saturday morning, it's the day of the game. Hopefully we're all excited. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Thank you very much, like I said earlier, for the continuous support on the podcast. What we're doing and what I'm trying to create on the podcast is fantastic, and hopefully you're enjoying it as much as I am as well. This has been the Oxford United vs Crewe match preview, and this has been the Young Fan Podcast. Have a good rest of your day, have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday for the match reaction, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.